So the hats come in, like I said, you saw kind of the process there. They give them a little back shop blocking, kind of look like Jed Clampett's hats. So they're all in here by quality, and they age in here. It's kind of like wine, right?
Let them sit for a little while.
Let them sit, and that felting process just continues. And the longer they sit, actually the tighter they felt together. So orders come in, product gets pulled. So we know we're making 8 of these. So what happens is, you feel there's a stiffening agent built into these. Steam will loosen that back up again.
Yeah, when I go and get them to adjust my hat,
It's steaming. So what's going on here is, he knows the sizes, so he puts it in this machine. A lot of the equipment that you're gonna see on this trip, a lot of it is from the early 1900s, 1940s, 1950s. Nothing changes. You need this older equipment to do it. Nobody's making hat making equipment. So we're pulling out the brim, and we're starting to create crown and brim separation, and now we have an oval, 7 and an 8, and that's the first step in the process, is the blocking right here. So starts like this.
That's where it kind of comes in.
Right?
We saw that over there, and then you bring it in first step.
That's right. So now we got a definition between crown and brim, and we're starting to get that oval according to size. So it goes from here. You ready? We're gonna move on this way. All right, so you see the hats are all blocked initially, and now we come in here. So what we're doing here is the sign of quality on a hat is when you get a razor thin edge, that's a good quality hat. Now this one hasn't been beveled yet. You can see it's just a straight cut to get to the brim width. This is a 4-inch brim hat. So what she's doing here is she's taking, that's a real fine sandpaper, filing it down. So razor thin edge on that thing.
She's doing that personally with each hat.
Every single one.
Now again, when you talk about, these pieces of equipment that have been around since turn of the century, pretty much so. I mean, how do you maintain them? I mean, the parts and all of that.
It's a great question. So we have a lot of old machines up on pallets that when we need a part, we have to go to the old machine.
We used to call them the hanger queen.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You'll see those. All right. So she's beveled the edge, and now we got to sand the crown. So there's a little bit of grease on here, and when the fur comes off, it blows up. This is a vacuum cleaner. It goes out, we bag it up, and then they truck it out of here to get rid of the waste. So now we have to do the brim. Same thing. That's the heavy paper. This one is a little more fine.
Now what's
two-stage process?
Total time for this process?
Yeah, I would say that if they spend more than 25 minutes per rack, we're probably moving a little slow. And again, we'd normally have 4 additional people in here. And then, depending on the color, this is where we take a powder that we make ourselves, and we work it in. So you see the color is a little, it's a little discolored here. So what she'll do is she'll take this, and she'll rub that in. And now you start to see the uniformity of the color, right? So, and we work that in, and then we sand it back in so it gets down into the hat real good. Yeah, so this is a color called belly. And even though they're dyed initially overseas in Europe, the colors are very specific to our collection. We have to get every single one looking, I mean, the 1,000th one has to look like the first one. So that's what we're doing here. We're working that color so that it's perfectly uniform. And they love working in here because we keep this temperature controlled. So we want a cowboy hat, right? So Larry's gonna, fire away, Larry. Sorry. See, here I am doing everybody's damn job.
So this is the body like it'd be right out of the finish room after we get through finishing it. So this is where we put the shape in the top of the crown. So we're gonna steam the crown.
Steam it so you can soften them up.
And every one of these is obviously ID'd by size. Temperature controlled. We actually innovated these machines ourselves. And it's important to do that because that puts the memory in there. That thing's going to hold its shape.
Now, how long after this do you let it sit to make sure that it forms?
Well, like this, it'll cool down. It'll go back on the rack. And then it'll just follow through. The next stage we'll be planting the brim. So it'll sit on that rack to cool the whole time. So it sets up, it doesn't take too long.
It's like a liquid that the heat actually turns it back into liquid, and then when it cools, it hardens again into whatever new shape that you put it in. Which is why when you go to the Western store, they hit it with the steam, it turns into liquid again, and you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah. So he's going to show you how we do the brims.
How you do the brims?
You know, these little toilet seat looking things, and every one of those is removable if we want to do more of a flatter brim. I don't know what your preference is, if you're more like, you know, George Strait, or you're more like rancher style, or...
I like it turned up a little bit.
All right. We can do between 60 and 80 dozen a day.
Do you ever have a peak season, or it's just...
We used to, but not anymore.
Yeah.
It's constant. We're smashing 2019's numbers right now. We cannot keep up with the demand.
Really?
We have millions of dollars of missed opportunity just because we can't get it to the customers fast enough. So there's this groundswell of people who have a thirst for getting back out and purchasing things that they haven't over the period of the last year or however long. And then, you know, the supply chain has been impacted. And, you know, so while we're doing great and breaking records, it could be even better. Is this kind of the shape that you like, a little flatter on the brim? Or?
Yeah, no, this would be nice.
All right. And again, you mean just all of that from the collection of 8 ounces of fur. If you held it in your hand and you blew on it, it would just fly away. So this is my speed bump in here, because these ladies are meticulous. So what they're doing is they're taking some grease on a sponge. They're loosening up the fibers, smoothing it out, putting a nice little shine on it. They're getting all the loose fur off of the top. I've seen them in here with tweezers on a light colored hat, plucking dark fibers off. And this is where I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
I love that you care. Oh, this is our asset, our quality.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the big brands, but people in the marketplace know if you're buying a Milano hat, you're getting the best. Other people don't take time to do it this way. So, and then, you know, stuff like this we do by hand. We'll take that same flat brim, and then we've got an iron that's kind of like a roller, and we iron these. So this is where we roll those brims. And she's got a little iron that she's working with, and now she's doing the same thing, is touching them up, putting the grease. So, well, Doc Holliday.
Yeah, he was from Georgia.
Yeah, he was.
He was from Georgia. He was an actual dentist.
Doc. Yeah.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry. I was gonna say it, but so you see, like old machines like this, we use. We got them up on pallets everywhere. This actually puts a welt on the brim. This machine here, I'd show you how it's working if we were doing it. But sometimes you see a dress hat where the brim is actually folded underneath and then stitched to hold the brim shape. And I'll show you one in a little bit here. But in here we keep buckle sets, satin liners. We have to lock this up because we have alligator and ostrich and all kinds of stuff back here, and gold and silver buckle sets like the ones you saw up there. So that's the cage. This is the trim line. So whether we're making straw hats over here or felt hats over here, they circle and come down the trim line where they'll get their sweatbands. She's custom fitting every single sweatband. So take a look at this machine here. That's a Singer McKelly. That's probably from 1940. Foot pedal. So our sweatbands are free floating. They're not sewn directly to the hat. It's sewn to a piece of tape that's embedded that we embed into the hat. So you see the sweatband, it will float, and so over time that leather will form to your exact head shape. We're putting the liners that will go inside the top of the hat, and really finishing it out right here at this station. And then this is quality control
QA/QC
over here. So we're checking for any defects, the tweezers, doing all this stuff. So nothing gets out of here without these checks. So one more time, we're going to really take a look at the hat. It obviously looks finished. Not until she says so. She's gonna wrap it nice so it looks just as good as that when it gets to the store. But so if it's a little misshapen and something happened to it along the way, she's gonna tweak it by hand. This is what you normally see in a Western store when they're seaming your hat. So and then it goes in a box and goes to the warehouse. Out it goes. We import the bodies, Ecuador, Mexico. Here's a Ecuadorian Panama. This probably took a month to weave, one person. So the pattern change starts here with one, two pieces of straw woven in and out of one another, and then we have a beautiful Ecuadorian Panama. That's probably about $300.
Not machined by hand.
None of these. There's no machine that can do any of this. That right there, somebody did that. Those aren't holes poked in that. They knew exactly where to skip. Don't ask me how. I got a video of that too, I can show you. We got brims, you can see where we do the brims, we press them out. They go in the lacquer room back there.
Okay.
The fumes aren't great, so I won't take you in there. So they put the lacquer on the hats. It keeps them like water repellent, stain resistant. And we naturally dry them in there for about eight days. Other companies run them through a heater to make them, dry quicker. And that's when you touch a straw hat, you start hearing a cracking sound. That's somebody didn't air dry them very slowly, so that's what we do. So when you get a Milano hat, you'll feel it, you'll roll that brim, you won't hear a sound. We service a lot of customers, both domestically and around the world, like you pointed out. And we got a great crew of people, and they sure love working here. Yeah, let's go to the showroom. You ready, cowboy? Get out of this heat? All right. We're gonna put this medieval torture chamber on your head.
This may be a little uncomfortable putting it on, but
Nothing's as uncomfortable as being shot at by like the Taliban. Okay, that's really uncomfortable.
maybe you can help me pull it down a little bit.
Oh man, this is.
I don't know, man.
There you go.
See, I figured I'd just come in and put a tape measure around my skull and say, okay, that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna take it out.
That's it?
Yeah.
What size am I? This is my home. This is where I live. And I live in the cowboy hat capital of the world.
There you
Yes.
go.
So that's why I want people to know.
There you go. Terrific.
All right.
Okay, Colonel. Thank you so much, brother. You got it.